To get orientated, you need to find the ecliptic. You can see I've ringed Saturn, which is setting in the west, and I've Capricornus. We're all conversant with Capricornus, which is our logo. So I'm not going to say there's not much of interest in the south that I'm going to talk about tonight. We look north. Again, we pick up the ecliptic, and I've ringed Andromeda. I've ringed the Andromeda galaxy down in the south. I've ringed Aries, Hyades, and Orion, which I'll be pointing out during the presentation. And you'll see Jupiter. Is there a problem? Carry on. You can see Jupiter rising in the east. That's much later. That's about 11 o'clock early in the month and 9 o'clock later in the month. Moving on. I've just concentrated here on the right down on the horizon, Andromeda galaxy. You can see that Andromeda constellation and Aries. Aries is a really insignificant constellation, but I must deal with it now because we can see it. So let's talk about Andromeda, the chained lady. Cassiopeia, the queen of Ethiopia, bragged that her daughter was more beautiful than the Nereids, sea nymphs blessed with incredible beauty. They were offended at her remark. The nymphs petitioned Poseidon to punish Cassiopeia for her insolence, which he did by commanding the sea monster Cetus to attack Ethiopia. Andromeda's panicked father, Cepheus, was told by the oracle of Ammon that the only way to save his kingdom was to sacrifice his daughter to Cetus. She was chained to a rock by the sea, but was saved by the hero Perseus, who in one version of the story used the head of Medusa to turn the monster into stone. I've just got showing you the bottom, our star chart, where Andromeda is. And above it is, that's the version of the sky as given in the northern hemisphere. We're upside down, but I wasn't able to get a chart of that. Now, the brightest star in Andromeda is Alpheratz, which is a binary star, and that's also part of Pegasus. It's a very colorful binary and a popular target for, then Almach is a colorful binary and a popular target for amateur astronomers. Now, Almach is at the other end, the opposite end to Alpheratz. In the middle, in the center, is Merak, which is a red giant. Its color visible to the naked eye. The constellation's most obvious deep sky object is the naked eye Andromeda galaxy, or otherwise known as M31, also called the Great Galaxy of Andromeda, which is the closest spiral galaxy to the Milky Way and one of the brightest Messier objects. In the southern hemisphere, visibility is limited to a shorter period from October to December. So the only time to see this Andromeda galaxy is from October to December, which is why I'm putting it in now. It's a rich constellation steeped in mythology and astronomy, featuring notable stars and the spectacular galaxy, making it a favorite among stargazers and astronomers alike. That's a detailed look. You can see Alpheratz, the bottom right. But if we look at Alpheratz, it's at the other side. It's 180 degrees reversed because it's part of Pegasus. Then Almach is at the other end and Merak. Now, Almach is very interesting. It's a naked eye star and it's a quadruple star, making it a feast for both the mind and the life. So that's Almach.
I'm just muting.
That's the Andromeda galaxy, which you're all familiar with, which we're going to collide with in 5 billion years. Aries is a constellation of the zodiac, one of the 12, located between Pisces to the west and Taurus to the east. It's Latin for ram. It was described by the 2nd century astronomer Ptolemy and remains one of the 88 modern constellations. It's a mid-sized constellation, but it's very insignificant. Here's a map of Aries. The major star is Hamal, and that's the brightest star. Next is Sheraton, which is Beta Arietis, then Mesothym, Gamma Arietis, and 41 Arietis, also fourth magnitude. There are a few deep sky objects within the constellation, but they're very faint. And yeah. So that's what it looks like if you have a close-up to Aries, but that, again, that chart is upside down because that chart's for the northern hemisphere and our stars are seen upside down. But the brightest star is Hamal. Then we're talking about Hyades. To see Hyades, you go to Orion and you go down the belt, you come to Aldebaran and then Hyades. And Hyades is part of Taurus, which as you can see, yeah, coming to there. Hyades is a bright, large, open cluster of stars located 153 light years away in the constellation. It's the nearest open star cluster to the sun. The cluster is catalogued as Colander 50 and Caldwell 41. The Hyades open cluster is among the best studied clusters in the sky due to its brightness and proximity. The cluster contains hundreds of stars, a group slightly spherical in shape, that share a common origin, age, chemical composition, and motion through space. The cluster is believed to be about 625 million years old, and the dense core region has a diameter of 17.6 light years. That's where you can see it. You can see from Orion pointing to Aldebaran, Hyades, and fairly close to Hyades, you can see Pleiades. But you can see Hyades is part of Taurus constellation, also easily visible now. That's an artist's representation of Taurus the bull, and Hyades is all around the face of that bull. This image shows the Hyades star cluster, and the bright star there is Aldebaran. Hyades is very well studied due to its location, easy to find. The Hyades group is expected to lose members and mass over the next few 100 million years. That's just down the road, until the cluster is reduced to about a dozen star systems. These will eventually dissipate too. Of the cluster's several hundred stars, about 15 are visible to the unaided eye in good viewing conditions. The asterism outlines the head of the celestial bull. Aldebaran is very close to Taurus, but is not part of the Hyades. It is part of Taurus. Both the giant star and the cluster can be found by following the line, as I mentioned that. So those are my references, the night skies of Botswana, but particularly the 2025 Guide to the Night Sky. We've come to an end of this little book. So you look out for the 2026 guide for next year. It's a most valuable little book. And that's where I end my song and dance routine.
Thank you very much, Harold. What's that?
It's probably because, yeah, I wanted, yeah, where do I turn?
Thank you, Harold.
Hang on.
What's going on?
Stop now.
It happens when you have more than one person.
What can we do? Hello?
Yeah.
Just to say thank you to Harold, whom I didn't introduce because we were still trying to get things running. But Harold Hester does that each month. gives us an overview of what we can see if we are in Botswana looking at the night sky. What we have tonight is unusual. It's a hybrid meeting in which we have people gathered together here at Morapula School, and then, of course,